Great, well it's fantastic to be back here for the next in our No Wrong Path series, so really excited that I am on the other side for this one. So this is part 2. In part 1 obviously Ruth was talking to me about my path and what I'd done. In this episode we're going to be talking to Ruth about what she's done, and here we are in the same career running very similar businesses, but we've gone very different ways to get here. So it's really exciting to hear Ruth's story and find out how she's got to this point in her journey so far. So Ruth, please introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about you.
So my name's Ruth Forster, and it is very strange to be on this other side of the interview, being interviewed. And I established Wagstaff Recruitment and Careers Coaching 10 years ago. We're based in Lichfield, and we do permanent and interim recruitment, mainly within engineering, manufacturing, automated distribution. Do a little bit of work in Europe, in the Netherlands and Germany, and do a lot of work within food manufacturing, automated distribution, and also careers coaching.
Very good indeed. So tell us, if we go back to basics, tell us about school for you. What was it like? Did you enjoy it? Or when you were there, did you know that you were going to end up doing this? Was this your aim and your plan for your career?
No.
No. In short, no.
In short, no. And we had a conversation earlier, and as coaches we do a lot of reflecting, and the things that I've learned about me have come a lot from reflection. But no, school wasn't great for me at all. So I was in a good comprehensive. I grew up in Nottingham, and it was a good school. It's even better school now. It was a good school, but it just wasn't. It didn't click. It wasn't. I can't say. Lots of people say they're the best years of my life.
Yeah.
No. For me, walking out at 16, because that's what we were obviously allowed to do at that point. I didn't know what I wanted to do, but certainly I actually think, reflecting back, I think there was a relief to leave. And I struggled I was an average student, and what I think I struggled with was finding my voice to say when I didn't understand something, or when something I wasn't quite getting it. I wouldn't say I don't understand.
Yeah.
And again, this is all pure on reflection, that if I had done, would have things have been different.
Yeah.
There was another element, again, that I know now really affected me, which was, unfortunately, when I was 8, my mum died, and I thought I'd carried on, and I thought everything was okay. But it's only when you get to be an adult that you think, oh boy, no, that really did have an impact.
Yeah.
I had no idea what I wanted to do, because I wasn't confident in my ability, and I hadn't found something that I really loved. When you were talking earlier, you loved your arts and that cultural side of things. I remember people saying to me, well, what's your hobby? I haven't got one. I hadn't found a purpose at that point, so it was really, really difficult. I remember people asking me those questions, well, what do you want to do? Well, surely you want to know what to do. No, I didn't. And then I felt even worse, because I couldn't give an answer of what I wanted to do, I felt,
Well, you doubt yourself, didn't you?
well then, okay, well, what am I going to do? Because now don't have anything to offer. It was really, really difficult, but I got what was available at the time was a YTS. So I went for a few job interviews, and I got a YTS within a local authority, and it was the making of me.
Yeah.
It was the absolute making of me. And the biggest thing I remember thinking is I suddenly felt valued.
Yeah.
The work that I was doing, which I thought was just general basic work, was really valued.
Yeah.
I was also dealt with as an adult. I was only 16, 17, but suddenly the dynamic had changed. I wasn't a student or a child. I was in the world of work, and I felt like I found my home.
It's funny that, isn't it? And when you're talking about being in that middle group at school, the high achievers are always noticed for being the high achievers. The low achievers are always noticed for being low achieving, and so often you see that middle group, and it's fantastic to see over the last few years. We've certainly seen it as schools committing to help that lot that are floating, it's not that they don't get noticed, But do they get recognition for being really solid and really consistently in the middle?
Yeah.
And I think that's interesting, because when you put you in that group, and it happens, doesn't it? You get that group, you're put in that category. So then when you're lifted out and you're then a consistent, solid achiever in a working capacity, you suddenly get noticed for being really capable and really solid.
Yeah.
So I think that's really, really interesting. Do you find that when you think about them going back, have there been people who've encouraged you? Because obviously here you are now running your very successful business, training, coaching, recruitment, you name it, and recognised within the industry for having this very successful business. Have there been people who've helped you and influenced you along the way who you'd actually say, I wouldn't be here without them?
Yeah, definitely. And we talk about them now as mentors, don't we?
Yeah.
And actually they were mentors back then. They just didn't even know in their own mind that they were mentors, because they were either colleagues at work or managers. So there's a few. And I was thinking about this only last week, and one of my closest friends is one of my oldest friends, and she I think looking back now, she sort of took me under her wing at when I was working for the local authority, and I've got two really close friends now that did this with me. But when I was 16, I went into an office environment, and Karen, literally, we just ended up clicking and going off and playing badminton together and doing things and going to gigs together. I remember going to Simply Red with her. And she's 10
and there
years...
it is, folks, it's
go.
live,
Yeah,
it's recorded.
And she's 10 years older than me. But it didn't feel like that, because she treated me as an adult. And I think that, for a point of view of somebody who influenced me, she was probably one of the first people that saw me for me as an individual. So definitely her. And then it was while I did two years with the local authority, and I thought my contract was going to come to an end, and knowing local authorities, they just leave everything to the last minute. I wasn't one of those. Think about how you are as an individual. I'm very stable. I like to know where I'm going to be with everything, so I didn't want to leave it to the last minute. Yeah. And somebody within the in the office said, "Have you been to a recruitment agency?" I'd never even heard of a recruitment agency, because nobody talked about that in careers with us. So off I popped to this recruitment agency, and what do? They get me a job with a recruitment agency with their sister company. So, you know, there was an influence there. Went to work for this recruitment agency, brilliant business, really treated people as people and individuals. One of the founding directors there, brilliant guy, Dave, just again saw me for me, and I went in an admin role, saw people doing the recruitment jobs that they were doing, and they were recruiting maintenance engineers in the food industry. I'm not an engineer, but my dad was. And I'd grown up seeing my dad go off on call and 24/7 working and getting called out for the boilers on Boxing Day and all this sort of stuff. I thought, is it really that difficult to do that matching? And people were struggling with it. And he gave me the opportunity to be a recruiter. So definitely him. He was definitely not seen as a mentor, but he was. Yeah. And yeah, so I think key there. And then personally, where I am now, so having the business, I never thought I'd have a recruitment. I never thought I'd have a business. I didn't have that confidence. But I would certainly say my husband has given me that confidence and that drive. I'm currently now, bizarrely, halfway through a master's after leaving school at 16. I'm 45. What am I doing? But I'm actually loving it. I'm really, really loving it. But that, for me, is, you know, he sort of encourages me. And says, well, I just don't understand why you're not doing this, this and this, and states the absolute obvious things to me. But yeah, it's that encouragement. So definitely those people, there's loads more people, but immediately they're the people that come to mind. Yeah. So
what I think is so interesting with that, and Ruth, is you've reiterated, learning doesn't have to just be limited to when you're at school. Oh gosh. And a line you use all the time, you know, lifelong learning. For us, learn, develop, grow. It's this continuous development, continuous improvement, this flourishing, this growing, this enriching. And I think with you, you found somewhere you're comfortable, you found somewhere you're confident, and you've gone, yeah, I'm happy. I feel peace to learn more and to take on more, and I think that's really nice. And I agree, these people who inspire us and lead us, you know, it can be stuff we've read, it can be members of our family, it can be friends, you know, you and I, we bounce ideas off each other. So I think that's been really interesting. What would you say? So we were quite fortunate, you know, both of us, we very different paths, but clearly things have worked in our favour and we've been able to get to where we are.
Yeah.
For those who are leaving now, they feel the doors are being closed. You know, grad schemes are being ended, apprenticeships are being stopped. The employment market, all there is on the news is the doom and gloom. What's your advice to those leaving now? Obviously it's A-level results day, it's the 13th of August. What would be your bit of advice that you'd say to somebody now, starting off?
So I would say keep in mind that these things are only temporary. So what we're experiencing today will pass, and the building blocks that you're going to do today will help you. Find your voice. Find your voice and don't be afraid to go out there and ask for an opportunity. Interesting things that I've learned about myself over the years our roles are seen as quite salesy, and I will always say I'm not a salesperson. And people will say, well, but you've developed your business, so you've obviously got good business development. It's like, I really don't like it. And somebody said to me, no, it's not that you don't like it, you just fear the rejection. I was like, oh, that's really true. I feared rejection. That person saying no all of the time, but I've changed my mindset now to, well, if I know it's a no, then I'm moving on. So get yourself on LinkedIn. Go and walk around anywhere that you live locally for a temporary role, anything that you can do. Make yourself visible. Not everybody's going to connect with you, and it's not going to be a success immediately, but those connections are the people that you may be building on for your future career. That in 3 years' time, somebody said, you connected with me on LinkedIn. I remember you put this post out there saying you were seeking a graduate role, and we couldn't offer you anything at the time, but actually we've got something now. So I would find your voice, ask for help. Remember it's only temporary, and I am going to be corny, and there is no wrong path. You know, you will get there with those core pieces of go out and do. Yeah, good. Well, I think it's been a really interesting conversation that you and I have been able to have. We're here, there's a presumption that we know what each other have done, because here we are at the end, or not at the end, here we are at this phase. And it's lovely, and I hope that's given evidence to you to say there is no wrong path. You can have two people in a very similar job who've come a different way, and that way has suited what we've done as individuals. And I think don't forget individuality when you think of your path. What is right for you, whether you have siblings and family members and friends, it's about you. This is a time you can be selfish. This is mapping your personal individual plan and thinking about your path moving forward. Brilliant. Thank you for doing the role reversal.
I much prefer it on this side than I do on the other side.
Final thing from me, Charlotte and I run a Be Career Confident series on Crowdcast. So for any help and support with your career, you can watch our 30-minute whirlwinds, as we call them, because they fly by for us, and hopefully they'll give you snippets on how to look after your well-being while you're searching for a job, looking at CVs, applying for jobs, how you can network, how you can connect with people. So yeah, head over to Crowdcast for Be Career Confident. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much.
All right, bye-bye.